Ahoy, hoy. Welcome back to Outside the Cinema.
Here we go again.
Your weekly source for cult movie discussion. We are your hosts. I am Bill. That is Chris. We are here to talk about bad to terrible movies. We are live currently on Twitch, and I only know that because my watch told me. See?
I see that it's purple, so I get it.
You can see this. You can see the side of my wrist. If you ever do want to watch us on Twitch, you can head over there and just search Outside the Cinema. We kind of co-broadcast the show now when we're recording it, usually Monday afternoons around lunchtime. So, and then you can go and watch the video, rewatch the video of it over there. So you can always just follow us. I think you either search Outside the Cinema, all one word. You can search OTC Bill. It'll send you there.
I'll see if I can find a link and throw it in the Facebook group.
Yeah, we could do that. That would probably be the easiest thing.
Yeah.
But
we don't
welcome
think of
back,
that stuff,
everybody. No, well, we do. We think of it, and then we don't follow through with it. We are really, really good.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, one of the reasons why you and I have been friends for so long and have worked together for so long. Really, really good at ideas. Following through on all those ideas, we're at like maybe a 50%.
I would say
rate.
so, yeah.
Yeah, we're really good at being like, hey, we're going to do this going forward, and we're going to do it every week, and then we do it like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
like I think I brought up doing the commentaries, which I do still really want to do, and I keep saying we're going to do them, but getting us together in the same room has proved to be fairly difficult. But like that, even little things like both of us were like, oh, we're going to update the Facebook page every week with a still.
Yeah.
To head the page.
Oh, I forgot all about
still that ninja movie.
Well,
the
ninja movie hits such a level of cheesiness that, like, I don't know if we can top that, but we got two this week that actually might work.
Yeah. This week on the show, we are doing an 80s mystical horror film called Fear No Evil, which I realize now that I think we may have covered on the show before.
I don't remember it.
I think it might have been very early on, or whoa. Okay, sorry, we're not. The show's over. Oh, show's over, guys. Thanks. Because it's got one scene in it that's very famous, and we'll kind of talk about it when we do the review. The other review this week is the Alexis Arquette fronted Jack B. Nimble, which is a New Zealand horror fantasy type thriller thing. Both of these films are available to watch on Shudder. We do have no relationship with Shudder whatsoever. We love their service. And if you do watch stuff on Shudder, shoot them an email and say, hey, I heard about these films on OTC. Maybe you should take care of them.
Yes. Now I won't shit on the movies.
And I will say,
I am always honest.
I will.
Always honest.
Oh, and Shudder is they're owned by AMC. I mean, I know we had reached out to them when Survival of the Film Freaks was coming out when we thought we had pull. And we're like, I emailed Sam Zimmerman and was like, hey man, check out our documentary. And it was never heard a word and now I realize it's like, I can't send this guy like an unsolicited email about my movie. Like, I can't do that. And just be like, hey, I still thought it would have been a good home for it, but that's beside the point. You could watch it for free on Tubi.
Yeah. And nothing says it won't eventually show up there.
It could, yeah. That's very true. That's very true. I kind of hope it doesn't.
Doesn't? Oh.
Don't get me wrong, I love Survival and incredibly proud of it. But now, we were actually kind of talking about this a little bit before the show went on the air. Like, a number of years later, I look at it, we're probably, 6 years or so past, like, the production element of it, 6 or 7 years past the production element of it. And I look at it now, and I look at the stuff that I do now, whether it's music videos, short doc work, whatever else I'm working on, and just being like, wow, I am so much better at what I do now as I had no idea what I was doing, which is why I think I still work with Kyle, because he absolutely carried us across the finish line for Survival of the Film Freaks. Because I had no idea what I was doing. I had never in a million years, if you had said to me when we started the show, hey, Bill, you're going to start making documentaries in about 10 years, I would have been like, yeah, whatever. I have no desire to do that. And now it's all I want to do. now it's all I want to do. I like I'll have people talk to me about narrative stuff, and I'm like, oh, You want me to make a behind the scenes on making it? Like,
That's not a bad career though.
I like doing that stuff. That's why Kyle and I, that's why if any of you guys have seen The Woodsman, and I know most of you haven't watched it yet, I look at YouTube, I know what our subscriber rates are, and I know how many people are on our Facebook group, and I know that there are far less views on The Woodsman than there are followers of the show. So, hey, take 15 minutes, go to the Dark Matters Films channel on YouTube, watch The Woodsman. It's good. I'm very proud of it. It's a very good film. Kyle did an incredible job with the story. He did an incredible job directing. Our lead actor, John, is unbelievable in it. Take the time. Take the time.
Yeah. I can only watch it so many times, people. Come on.
It's true. I mean, I can only watch it so many times, too. I still enjoy it. I do. Anyway, so, yes. Yeah, Jack B. Nimble, New Zealand film. Fear No Evil, early 80s. Both available on Shudder. patreon.com/outside the cinema. We are going to start the Patreon picks in the next couple weeks. I'm working on gathering them all together so we have all of them, and we then can just be like, all right, we're doing Patreon picks. We've got X number of films. We're doing Patreon picks for the next however many weeks. We already have the films, and I can send you the films, and you can watch them or whatever. you know what I mean. So we have everything, and we're not like, I know we said we were doing it, and now we're going to stop halfway through. Story of my life, stopping halfway through. Patreon.com/outside the cinema. If you would like us to cover some films, or if you have a segment you would like us to do, or a throwback to a top 6 list, or a commentary, like that's the place to put all those things. The messaging system and Patreon. That way I have everything in one place. I love that you guys will still email the show.
Yeah.
But if it's specifically something related to Patreon, try to send it to the Patreon so I have it all in one place, and not like, well, I have to go back to this email, and then people will email the OTC Industries email, and I'm like, well, this is a outside the cinema thing. OTC Industries is a part of or outside the cinema is part of OTC Industries, but it's still its own separate entity. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Cool. I like making sense. Although I want to see that new remaster of the Talking Heads Stop Making Sense concert film, which. Is it A24 is putting it out? They remastered it, and like it looks great. Good. It looks great. Speaking of looking great, no, not really. I actually feel quite haggard. I feel quite haggard. I need a trim of the hair. My beard's a mess. You look.
I got a little trimmed up. I got to get the sides of my head shaved off. It's been a while. They're a little fuzzy.
A little sharp.
Yeah, sharpen up, look good.
How often do you like to shave them?
The sides of my head?
Yeah.
It depends, because I kind of use like the shaved down, trimmed up, straight line mohawk for like confidence. So like when I'm feeling good, I don't mind if it gets a little grown out, like 1/4 of an inch or whatever.
Right.
But if I got something coming up, like I got to go do something on my own and my anxiety won't let me, then I'll do it. So like today or tomorrow, I'll have it done again. Yeah.
Okay. I get a haircut. I go to the barber now maybe once every 3 weeks, which sounds like a lot, but like the sides of my head, like my haircut, like it's like all grown in, right? And I have now a very specific haircut of like a high and tight with a tight skin fade, and I have they do the line for the part, and like within like a week of me having the hard part done, it's gone.
Yeah.
So, but I will every other haircut I will treat myself to the deluxe beard and hair. Well, they'll do the hot towels and like. So there's a barbershop up the street from me, which has cut my hair for, a number of years since we moved to Wakefield, and they do Travis's, and my barber over there is great. It's Mel's Barbershop in Wakefield. My guy Lou, if you're ever in the area, does a great job. But they don't do like a deluxe treatment. So I went to this other place in Melrose called the Barber's Den. And they it's incredible. This guy spends more time trimming my beard and like shaving the cheeks and like he'll do the like mustache around the corners of the mustache. He spends more time on my beard than like my beard and my hair at my old place. And that's not to diss. That's not dissing dissing my
Right.
other place. But it's just a different level, and you pay for it. It's more expensive too. So like, but I'll tell you, man, there is nothing that I think I enjoy more than when I can kind of just sit back there, get a haircut, gets the hot shave going, shaves the neck, does the my cheeks, and then he does the hot razor on the back of my neck. It is the best. If you have not treated yourself, Christopher,
I've done one or
a-
two of those. My problem is how close people are to my face.
understandable.
I have a problem. And the other problem is when I'm shaving, trimming up and stuff like around my mouth and all that. I like to know when I'm going to touch the hair so I don't breathe in at that time. And if I'm doing it, I know I'm not going to breathe in any hair and have it bother my nose for like a whole day and a half. It's just little things that like my
never had that
medicine is
happen to me.
helping with. So
Yeah, I've never had that situation where I was getting a haircut and I like sucked in a bunch of hair.
it's a
or
worry
something.
for me for some stupid
I
reason.
will though say that the shards of glass that is the trimming of like my mustache and my beard going directly into my eyes is something that I terribly fear.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm like this in the chair the whole time
Yeah.
because I'm so afraid that I'm going to get one of those shards of my beard directly into my eye.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
so that's barber talk with Bill
I've
and
had
Chris.
that dog hair like splinter kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
worst. Oh,
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, so I can imagine. I don't want that.
Yeah. But other than that, other than the fear of blindness,
Yeah.
it is just such a relaxing experience. I would akin it to the ladies that listen to the show. Like when you go to the nail salon and you get a mani pedi
And
or
the
whatever.
whole
Like,
facial and everything.
yeah. So like, I mean, listen, guys. If you're a dude's dude and you're like, I'd never get a pedicure. You're a fucking
Yeah, why
idiot.
not?
Dude, pedicures are the balls.
You walk on them things
Like-
all day long. You should treat them nice.
Seriously. I remember I got one right before we went to the Bahamas.
Yep.
About a month ago or so. I went and this lady went to town getting the dead skin off my feet. And I looked like a molting snake
Yeah.
with the amount of dead skin. And she looks up at me, and I won't do the accent because it'll make me sound racist.
yeah,
which
well,
I'm
it
not.
would.
But she looks up at me. Yeah, it would. She looks up at me and she's like, "When's the last time you did this?" And I look at her and I go, "When was COVID?" And she goes, like early 2020. And I was like, "Yeah, a year before that." And she looks back down and she goes, "I'll get back to work." But it's great. Yeah, if you're a guy, get a pedicure, man. It's like the
There's
best.
nothing wrong
None
with
of us-
doing
I don't-
stuff that makes you feel
None
good.
of us have good looking toenails unless you go to get a pedicure. And during the summer, if you're going to wear flip flops, you're going to wear slides or like any of those shoes to show off your toes, for crying out loud, for God's sake, in the name of the devil himself, clean up those toenails.
Yeah.
I don't need to see your yellow toenails.
Yeah.
If you don't want to, then that's fine. Put on a pair of
Yeah,
socks.
that's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
It's fine.
Got weird colored toenails, paint them. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? You can do that when you get a pedicure.
Yeah.
I didn't. I chose not to. Not because I wasn't feeling as though I was actually going to. I was going to get neon yellow and orange. And then Mel was like, "Bill," she goes, "You could do it if you want. But what's going to happen if we get to the Bahamas and you decide you don't like it?" And I was like, "Ooh, that's a good point."
Yeah.
She's like, "I'm not bringing any nail polish remover." She's like, "You'll have to go to like the spa on site and spend $400 to have it removed." I was like, fair enough. It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Anyway, we should get into the show. I don't even know where we kind of get off in that.
guess.
Maybe because I think we're not going to get a lot of mileage out of these movies. I think they're both interesting, but I don't know how much mileage we get out of them. All right, so Chris, you're older than me, so you can choose which film we cover first.
Okay. So I watched the one with Arquette second, so I'd like to do them in that order.
Okay. So Fear No Evil we're going to do first. Okay. I do have a trailer here. Let's see.
You were by taste everywhere and overtaking everything. Not a soul. Anything. Not a single soul. Right there. I slept with you that night. Sleep. Jack. You couldn't. I wrapped my arms
Dora, I'm Mrs. Birch. I'm your new mummy.
This one. Remember, Jack, you owe us.
Jack?
Dora? Is it you?
My little Jack. Jack, wait.
If I lose you, I lose everything.
Jack, let's go. I can do it all again.
Dora is my sister.
Stop punishing me for your life. I can't give you another child.
I feel no movement in my body, and my body moves. Do I have a body?
I loved you.
Oh, dear God,
I
have you
loved
taken
you.
it too?
Will you forgive me? Will you help me?
All right, Jack B. Nimble. What year did I say it was? 90, 91, 93?
Yeah, 90.
93. Starring Alexis Arquette, Sarah Smuts Kennedy, Bruno Lawrence, Tony Barry, and Elizabeth Hawthorne. Jack and Dora, abandoned by their parents as babies, are desperate to find each other after years of adoption. That's a weird way to word that, right? After years of adoption?
Yeah, but it doesn't.
It should be years after being
Yeah,
adopted.
because they're only adopted by one family each.
Right. Jack's
It
young
should
life
be years
has been spent with
after
a sadistic
adoption or
family.
something like that. Yeah.
Yes. Dora, whose life has been somewhat better, has developed extrasensory powers which tell her that Jack's in danger and drives her to search for him. Film is directed by Garth Maxwell, who also did this. He worked on This Quiet Earth. He was a sound technician on that. He also worked on When Love Comes Along and a lot of New Zealand television, Crownies, Slide, Rescue Special Ops. Wow, a lot of TV work, actually. Worked on Xena,
Oh, yeah.
directed a bunch of Xena episodes. Hercules, The Legend Continues, did a bunch of those episodes. Red Delicious, Rude Awakening. All right, cool. So not a lot of director stuff that isn't TV related. But This Quiet Earth we covered way, way back on the show. Excellent Australian, New Zealand sci-fi production. I actually think I would like to revisit that one. That was in 85.
What was the title
that
again?
one came out. This Quiet, The Quiet Earth.
Right. Okay.
That was one of those ones that got unearthed in Not Quite Hollywood.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So.
Yep.
All right, before we get too much into Jack B. Nimble, we got to talk about Alexis Arquette. Tragically passed away in 2016. I think it was 2016. Older sister of Patricia and David Arquette, the famous Arquette family. Very well known in terms of cult films. She was in a bunch of them. She was in Pulp Fiction, Bride of Chucky, part in She's All That, but probably best known as the singer, keyboardist in The Wedding Singer,
Yeah.
who continuously sings Culture Club.
And loves cake.
Loves cake, yes. Alexis Arquette was born Robert Arquette. She transitioned to female in the, was it the, like, I think like late 90s.
Well, I know that they lived as female, but from what I had read, there was never confirmation of whether or not surgery.
Right.
They opted for surgery, and also rumors
Right,
that they
right.
lived as male for the last
went
part.
back to
And
living as
you
a
know
male
what?
the last
That's
few
fine
years.
because every day people feel different. Why not?
Hey. Yeah, and I had read an interview with David Arquette when that You Can't Kill David Arquette documentary came out a couple years ago, and he talked about Alexis quite a bit and how he referred to her as she, how she struggled. So it's actually quite a sad story, but I did not realize that Alexis had contracted HIV back in like 1987.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And
either,
lived with it until her death in 2016.
Huh.
But I don't think it was a thing that was out, like, because she continued to work,
Yeah.
like, you know, and there was a very big stigmatism for HIV and AIDS in, you know, the late 80s through most of the 90s. I would say it didn't really the stigma didn't really drop until probably early 2000s.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was something that was out and they hid it, or it was, you know, under lock and key, or what it was. But it's very interesting that she was able to continue to work and, you know, work quite well. She was on The Surreal Life on VH1. She did a documentary called My Brother. What was it called? My Brother. Alexis Arquette, My Brother, or actually, let me get the title of that right. She was in Friends a little bit, a couple times too. Felicity. She's All That. Children of the Corn. Wedding Singer. Oh, these are all. I got to scroll down to the Self section. Self. Here we go. Terminal Blues. I don't know. I can't find it. There was a documentary made about her transition from male to female. And as you said, you had alluded to, was kept very unanswered whether they had gone through the actual gender reassignment.
Yeah, because it's nobody's business.
It is nobody's business. But it is interesting when she did a large number of acting roles as a male, and then did a number of acting roles in the trans world, and then also just was presented as a straight female also. So it's you know, she had a very interesting career, and it's a tragedy. She passed away in 2016. Complications to HIV, basically had cardiac arrest. So it's a very sad story. But for all intents and purposes, we will refer to Alexis as a he, because for the review purposes, because she plays a male in the film.
Yeah.
Okay? Cool. And she does a great job. Put that right. Like, this movie's got not a lot going for it. But I think Alexis Arquette is probably the best thing going for it. So, as we said earlier, the story of this is Jack and Dora are brother and sister. We are introduced to them in the opening scenes. Their mother is an utter mess, utter emotional mess, drinking. It's one of those scenes where you're just kind of like, none of this makes a lick of sense, because she is just so distraught with everything that's going on around her. It's somewhat presented in this kind of supernatural way. She's hanging laundry outside, and it's so windy that the laundry's like slapping her in the face. And I'm just at first was like, maybe wait till it's not so windy.
Yeah.
You don't need to hang the laundry right now. You can wait till the hurricane
That
stops.
is true. That is true. Or until at least you stop crying. I mean,
right. Yeah. And she's like that unconsolable, like, can't hold her body up type upset. And we don't know why. We know she goes in. We know that the two children are in there, and she basically, there's a part where like this is just me as a movie viewer, where like she's putting all this clean laundry outside and hanging things, and then she goes inside and has a drink and like looks out the window, and she's got these nice white linen window treatments blowing around in her face, and then she manages to smudge her face into one of them where her lip is bleeding. Because she got because the wind whipped one of the things into her face and cut her lip, and then she like wipes the blood all over the nice clean thing. And I was just like, you were just doing laundry. What are you doing? Like you have enough going on right now, and able to keep your mental health in control enough to know that you need to do the laundry.
yeah.
And then you wiped your bloody face all over the clean sheet, all over the clean window treatment.
Well, she's crazy. That's
So
what they're showing you, right?
Yeah. Good
Sure.
point. So she basically takes the two young children, puts them in the bedroom, and then just dips out. Yeah. We get a couple of different like flashbacks. We see her having sex with a overweight, disorderly man.
Oh, see, I thought that was the husband cheating on her, and that's why she was crying.
Oh, you know what? It might have been. You're right. I'm sorry, Chris.
Okay.
You're right. Never mind. This movie's great. A+.
I'm just wondering if I interpreted the whole thing wrong.
You're right. You're right, because I forgot when she shows up again later on, she has the conversation with the kids about the father. Anyway, so she is just a mess. We know she's a mess. She dips out on the kids. The landlord shows up. Or no, it's the father that shows up and is basically looking for her and is like, what was her name? Anne?
Dora.
Anne, where
wait,
you
the
at?
mom
You
or
know?
the daughter?
The mom's name was Anne.
I don't know.
And he finds the two kids, and then we know that they're brought and put up for adoption. And I don't know what adoption was like in New Zealand in the early or the late 70s, but this place is like they have these two kids basically in a cage.
Yeah. It's like it's a shitty playpen crib kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they were
these kids,
they were all
like-
built to look like cages. So
Yeah, but like they were also, I felt like the two of the kids were older than they to need to be in like a playpen.
yeah, but I think it's because the mother can't control herself because she's having issues. So you put them.
Right. No, but this I'm talking about.
Oh,
at
in the other. Oh,
orphanage, though.
yeah. No, that's so they don't have to worry about where they are. Where are the
good point.
kids?
So
I don't know. I
this
put them in the box.
They're in the box. So these two husband and wife come in and they adopt Dora, but they adopt just Dora.
Yeah.
And they leave Jack there, and Jack is clutching on Dora, and Dora's clutching on him, and they basically have to tear them apart. And then Jack is then adopted by a much less nice family, and it's pretty much you can feel it right away. They did a good job of the demeanor of Dora's adoptive parents coming in and being, oh, Dora, what a beautiful name. You know, I'm going to be your new mommy. We're going to take you home and we're going to take care of you. Whereas Jack's parents, which was, I don't remember their names.
The parents, one of them was like
Yeah.
Cassie or something, but not exactly that.
Clary and Bernice.
Yeah. Even their names,
come in-
their names are like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, they come in, completely different demeanor, like march in there, look around, and they're just like that one. Like they're picking up a puppy. And here's the thing, I would be even happier to pick up a puppy. I'd be like, oh, they're all so cute. I don't know which one I want. I'll take that little guy. They're like, no, that one.
Yeah.
We're going to make you a man, essentially. And we see that as Jack is being brought up, he's basically being, like they adopted him to basically just do work around the farm. Gets home, he meets his new sisters, which is 4 almost like identical girls of just different ages, long, black, dark hair, their dirty faces, dirty clothes.
What I thought was really funny is when they lined up in a row from youngest to oldest, their hair got longer and messier as they got older. So that in itself tells a story of these kids are neglected from the day they're born.
Oh, they're used. It's like it very much is like they're used. But there was a different relationship because Jack wasn't the mute, unresponsive child that they wanted. He, had a mind of his own and he had feelings and he had, so there's a scene early on after he's been adopted where they work on a farm and own a farm where the sisters drag him out and watch the father slaughter a pig.
Yeah.
And there's this very much air of like they're desensitizing him to the violence, which is something that plays a big part in the rest of the movie.
Yep.
So, we see Dora at home with her parents, and we see that she's got she's not rich, but she definitely has a much more structured upbringing. Upper middle class is kind of how I read it.
Yeah.
And, like they show her on her birthday and how she's still she's not with Jack. So they very much show that the two of them being separated has affected them consistently. And we get some scenes of them growing up a bit to high school age. Jack is not great in school other than metal shop. Dora is actually quite good in school, but she can't get along with the other kids for whatever reason. And then there's just this really horrible scene in Dora's school where they're in typing class. That's remember this movie's 1981. Typing class was a thing where women, they would send the girls to go to typing class to learn how to type. And she's typing a letter to her brother, and it's basically I missed you. I wish I knew who you were. All this stuff. I love you. I wish for us to be together. Blah blah blah. And the teacher grabs it and is like, Dora decided to write something on her own, and then reads it in front of the class and allows all of the children to laugh at her. Like,
Yeah.
and, like things that like, I'm like, why are you laughing? First of all, it's not funny. Like,
Yeah, no, that's like I expected her to get halfway through that and for the kids to start turning on the teacher, but that did not happen.
nope. They very much made fun of her.
Yeah, that
And then after
I'm going to be
class-
honest, that seemed even more bullying than even I saw when I was little. Not that it doesn't happen, but God damn the teacher.
But
and
wouldn't
the
happen
kids.
from the teacher. Yeah.
Oh no, I've had issues with teachers. I was physically attacked by a teacher once for coughing.
Want me to beat him up?
He's dead. And
See?
and when
Problem
my
solved.
parents told me that, I said, "Fucking good," and they were shocked. I'm like, "Fuck you!" I was 13 and he attacked me. Anyway, go ahead.
And so
Yeah,
there's a scene after the classroom where Dora's outside and she's being picked on by the group of like, I don't know if it's supposed to be the popular girls or the mean girls or whatever it is. It doesn't
it
matter
looked like
because
the
it never really
volleyball
comes back.
team. If we want to be honest,
Yeah, because they were all like 30 feet
Yeah.
tall. So they're making fun of her. They're like, is Jack your boyfriend? And I'm like, at no point does Dora stick up for herself because she very much like a number of times could have been like, hey,
yeah,
Jack's my brother. When we were adopted, we were separated. How about you back the fuck
Right.
off?
right. But she has no spine at all because she's.
None.
I'm guessing we're supposed to figure with the life she's lived, she's never had conflict until you get to
Correct.
these shitty teenage kids, which always happens.
Yeah, and so they get into a physical fight, an altercation. And Dora, being the smaller of the two, is not really able to hold her own against. She does pretty good at first, but like can't hold her own against this much larger girl. So she bites her on the arm, and the girl gets really pissed off and basically pushes her off of a stone wall onto the concrete below,
Yeah.
and she goes into a coma.
As you do, because her ears were bleeding.
Yeah, as you
And
do.
then we get no spoiler alert. There is no repercussions for anyone involved in that.
Spoiler alert, Chris. There's no repercussions for anybody in this movie for anything that
Well,
happens.
I mean, yeah.
There is not a policeman or a firefighter or an ambulance person or anyone that shows up in this movie, despite the multiple murders that happen.
And even when the girl's in the hospital, all we get is, just the hospital. There's no real doctors.
we get the, oh, Dora, hope you come back to me. I don't know. Wait, no, that's not the right accent.
No, that was definitely Irish.
Definitely Irish. My Irish accent's gotten pretty
That's
good.
not bad.
I
That's
was
not
doing, as I was watching this movie, though, I was like trying to get the accent going. I'm like, all right, I'll do the accent during the thing. And now I can't think for the life of me how to do it. Can't think of the life of me how to do it. Shit, I think the dog had a vet appointment this morning. That I
Oh, no.
Shit, I thought it was tomorrow. Anyway, so she's in the hospital. She wakes up from this coma and now is hearing these voices, and she can't control these voices that she's hearing. We go back to Jack. Jack has a friend that lives fairly near the farm where he lives, but he's told to not hang out with him.
Yeah, they've been friends since they were little. Wait, are we
yeah, but
still
for whatever
little? Oh, no,
reasons-
they're the actual actors now. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're walking home from school for whatever reason. Jack's told not to hang out with this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically are friends, and Jack really likes this kid and he's got a pet cat, and he wants he wants to have a pet cat, because there's a point early in the movie where he meets the neighbor's cat and asks if he can have a cat, and they basically just laugh
Oh,
at
they
him
literally make fun of him. Yeah.
for wanting to have a cat.
Yeah, and I think it's because it shows that he has some form of empathy left, and that would kind of nurture it, and it would make him. They don't want him weak. They want him to just be like a machine to go clear the thistle out of the. That's terrible. So it's this movie is basically a ramped up how to deal with abusive narcissistic parents, or how to identify them, because they are like every definition of what narcissistic parents do. Like, you owe me. Don't forget what I did for you. you're only here because of us. And they say that out loud because they got to move it fast because they're not a... It's weird, but the parents aren't a major part of the movie, but they are a major plot point.
They're the cause of the major story arc. So
yeah, but they don't last long on screen. Like they don't have a lot of screen time. No. I'm saying, yeah,
right. So they're making fun of Jack at the dinner table and like doing the whole, and they're basically like, you can't leave.
Yeah,
don't even think about leaving. If you try to leave, we're gonna make it even worse for you. Mm-hmm. And basically, like, you're not going to school anymore. You're not allowed to leave the farm. You're just going to stay here and work. And then this is where things take a turn. And it's a literal out of left field turn. And he goes, do you want to see what I made in Metal Shop? And no one says anything. They're just like, oh, I want to have a pussy cat. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm like making fun of
mother.
Yeah, the mother.
Yeah.
So he brings in this case, this metal case, and he opens it up, and it's got like an empty coffee can and a fan and some candles underneath and some lights and stuff. So he turns this thing on. He puts some water in the coffee can, puts the candles on underneath the can, creates steam, which spins the thing and powers these lights.
Yeah.
And what do these lights do, Chris?
Flash.
Yes, but what do they cause?
Well, initially it was really nice. It was a really nice moment because the only time this kid has been happy was in the car on the way to the parents' farm because the possibilities were infinite. So he's in a good mood. Anything could happen once I get there. And he remembers looking out the window and watching the sun and how the shadows from the trees played over his face. And he created a machine that sort of simulates that, but really what it does is deeply hypnotize you. And I was like, okay. I have no idea how he did that.
Okay.
But fine.
That's exactly, yeah. I go, all right. That's kind of a cool little plot twist.
Yeah.
Where did it come from?
Although they did say the only class you're passing is Metal Shop, which I think is supposed to make us think that he's good with his hands and machines. So fine. That's what I thought.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the only thing you're given. So it's the only thing you can think.
But the tough part about that is like we saw him in Metal Shop and all he did was take a short-handled sledgehammer to a piece of metal and yell a bunch. Nothing showed us that he was capable.
Right.
Right. I don't know that guy.
So he hypnotizes the parents. He hypnotizes the four sisters. And we're talking like deep hypnosis. Like, so he makes the father leave the house and like he basically commands the father to go out to the middle of the street and lay down in the middle of the street when a truck is coming. And then he wakes him up so the truck can run over him.
That was an interesting twist.
Yeah, very much. And then does the same thing with the mother, but he takes the mother out to like the side. They live on the ocean, but there's like cliffs. And he makes the mother pretend she's a cat and climbs up this tree and goes way out over a branch hanging out over the cliffs and then wakes her up. And in a very odd moment, wakes her up and it doesn't break right away.
Yeah. Yeah, he got too creative with his kills.
And she's just like, help me. And he's like, nope.
I like that.
And then she said, what if she said something? And then like he said something else and she's like, never. And then like the tree breaks and she falls to the ground.
Right, into the ocean. Supposedly dead. For real dead. Yeah. She didn't show up again. I was surprised with that, actually.
No, she didn't show up again. We heard her voice a number of times.
Yes.
But,
yes.
So in all this time this is happening, Dora is having nightmares about Jack.
Yeah.
So he goes back to the house, sends the sisters back to bed, and then basically takes his belongings and heads out on his own.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that he's going to try to find Dora, and Dora is concerned and has a feeling that he's coming to be nearby.
Yeah.
What we learn about Dora, though, is that she is now, since her accident, an absolute fucking basket case.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not a well-defined character.
No. I mean, nobody in this is really actually a well-defined character, I'd say. I think they're all very awkward.
Yeah.
We know that she's got these weird like voices in her head. She's sitting at the beach one day, and this older gentleman comes over, and played by Teddy, played by Bruno Lawrence, who's a fairly famous character actor. He was like, I think the main guy in The Quiet Earth, if I'm not mistaken. I know he was in it. I don't remember which character he was, but he's a pretty recognizable character actor.
Yep.
And I thought, like, he's drastically older than her. And at this point, one of the things that I had an issue with was the passage of time and how old everybody was a little cloudy.
Yeah, anytime you have the actors play themselves at a younger age and then you jump it ahead, but you don't change them in any way.
Right.
Because she's supposed to be in high school and then she's dating a guy, like living with him.
Well, and the thing too is we know that she's supposed to be older than Jack.
Right.
But we see the first birthday we see for her with the new parents is when she's turning 4 years old. So how much Jack has got to be at least 2, right? I mean, he's not a baby.
I thought he was like 6
when they were adopted. When
the mother thing happened, like when they still were part of their original family.
Oh no! He had to be at least 3 because
but no more than 6, I would say.
No, but he couldn't be 6 because
because her
Dora is established as the older brother, and the first time we see her having a birthday party with the adopted family, they're celebrating her 4th birthday.
Okay,
so there's not really an illustration of the passage of time from when he leaves to when he meets Dora. There's got to be some sort of passage of time, because even if he's 17 and a senior in high school when he decides to leave, Dora, that only puts Dora at 18, 19 years old. And then she's hooking up with this guy that's at least like, early 80s, older actors were playing much younger characters. Yeah. He's at least 15 years older than her. So I thought he was like pedo, like it was picking this girl up.
Yeah, that was initially it was, pedophile, rapist, whatever, kind of, just a creep.
Like preying
just
on
a
her.
Creep, yeah.
But it turns out that they like are sleeping together, but are also like, I guess, boyfriend and girlfriend, and like have a relationship. And again, no real explanation in the passage of time.
Yeah.
So, she's in her early 20s and he's 18, 19.
That feels right.
It feels right, but it's never really explained. So if you start to split hairs and think about it, you're like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So either way, whatever. So Dora's with Teddy, but she's having these nightmares about Jack and these visions about Jack, and she's hearing voices and she's seeing things. Teddy keys in on this and is basically like, yeah, you've got some like, ESP or some like type of, psychic powers that you just like, you got to figure out how to deal with. And he helps her like silence the voices essentially.
Yeah. But they don't explain how.
She knows. No.
Is it the power of his penis?
That's what I'm gathering, because they decide to show his really, really bald head on top of her a number of times.
Yeah.
So
there was more male nudity in this actually than female nudity, because we didn't even talk about the scene in the shower.
Oh,
let's just leave that. We don't need to.
Well, yeah, it's not important. And that's the thing, is it's a scene that we didn't even need. We didn't need that scene.
Well, it showed that nobody liked him anywhere, and his whole life was bullshit, except for the one kid that his parents were afraid he was attracted to.
Yeah,
that's what I figured, at least.
I kind of got that feeling too. Yeah. It was also just more so. I think there was also, even if you take like the potential homoerotic part of it out, they just didn't want him to hang out with them because they had some money.
Yeah.
And they were richer and they had a home, and like, we don't want you to think about having that because we're never going to give it to you. And regardless.
Yeah.
Moving on. So Jack has now gone to the city to try to find Dora. Dora knows he's coming. She grabs Teddy to help her try to find him. And they do. They manage to find him because there's this connection, and the two of them embrace. Jack is immediately super suspicious of Teddy.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of us are. I mean, he's presented in a way you're meant to be suspicious of him.
Yep.
And then they're basically kind of like trying to, get their kinship back together while also then trying to find out where their parents have gone. And it's it is what it is. They managed to, strangely enough, go to the orphanage and get literally all of the information they need to find out where their parents went, because I don't know if there's a whole lot of orphanages that give that information up. Any movie I've ever seen, you don't get any information. Had like an address and like a phone number and like here's an email address to reach out to your mom that gave you away. So, but at the same time now, the four sisters are out for vengeance because Jack has killed their parents.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the rest of the movie kind of comes from. They're following him to the city. They're trying to figure out what's going on. There's a number of weird pseudo supernatural psychic stuff going on. Dora ends up being pregnant with Teddy's child. Jack and Teddy are at each other's odds. The sisters are coming to get them, and there's your kind of the rest of the movie.
Yeah. There was some weird stuff in that.
Yeah.
Like the ending.
Yeah. I was just kind of like, so who's dead and who's alive?
Right. And why do I care? Why should I care?
Right. That's a really good point. So Dora has these voices in her head, which are never really explained other than she has psychic abilities. No, also like her adoptive mother gets murdered and nobody seems to care. Jack kills a bunch of people, not a bunch, but like he kills the parents and like, I mean, they killed themselves, but like he made them kill themselves. Right. He also then murders a guy that tries to rob him and there's nothing of that ever brought up again. I think in theory, I like what this film was trying to do, but like so many things we've covered recently, its execution is where it fails. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the whole thing is just, it's too much ramped up, and it, like too many emotions, too many reactions. All of it is played to like an 11.5 out of 5. So, Jack's reactions are emotional and some of them are very believable, but they are so over the top that it's like, it pulls me out of it in a way. I have a question, and I am not making fun of anybody's mental acuity here. I am talking about how people look physically, just how they look on screen. Okay. The dude's name is Jack. And didn't they know Ben Stiller very well? You following me on this?
I'm not.
Simple Jack.
Oh, okay.
Looks almost exactly the same as Jack in this movie.
Well, this was 1981, so there's no. I mean,
you see, it's the opposite way. Then you're thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
I just wonder.
He's not that bad, though. He's not that bad.
No, but I mean, the haircut, the structure of the face, the way the expressions that were made, even the clothes, it all felt like Ben took that and said, "All right, let's do this with it."
Maybe I'm not gonna subscribe.
No,
to
I'm just saying.
I see where you're coming from. I don't think
it's
so.
very suspicious to me. So
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, because I mean, even Jack in this, he is dumb. He's not a smart guy. He can't figure out any way to solve his problems except with killing people. Yeah,
100% controlled by his emotions and being controlled by his emotions, but also having no control over them.
Yeah,
is very. It's and they could have really kind of flushed some stuff out with a little bit more background on the sisters too, because they're menacing and it's the four of them coming after him. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's creepy. But I'm like, who are they?
Right.
Were they adopted also? Like, where did they come from?
Yeah.
Why do they, I mean, I get that they 100% bought into the parents took care of them. And when the parents are taken away from them, they need to seek their vengeance. But why? Like,
yeah,
they were treated poorly too. What's the difference between them and Jack, and none of that stuff is ever really explored. And then you get this kind of like big supernatural ending where like Dora is able to control her powers, and like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No, it was a whole different movie by the end.
Yeah. Different movies. That's a good way to put it. How it's like, I think like this isn't terrible, but there's definitely a lot of failures in it in terms of kind of where it was coming from. So let's hit this button. All right, Chris, do you recommend, and what's your grade for Simple Jack? I mean, Jack,
You did it.
Jack
You
be
did it.
nimble.
See?
Jack be nimble. Jack be nimble.
I will recommend it because I think it's got this emotional feeling to it. I can't even say strength or whatever, but it's just like the people were trying to say something with this. They were trying to talk about nurture versus nature or whatever we're going with. So yeah, I think since it's on Shudder, might as well. Right? If you have Shudder, there we go. So, but as for a grade, I gotta go with a C-. I thought it started off strong, but it was too simplified by the end of it. You know what I mean? Just too.
Yeah.
This is exactly what it is, and there was no wiggle room for anybody's actions. Yeah. Also, Dora looked more like the daughters of the family that the parents that he killed than he would have. Like I expected
It's true. But that's just because of the hair, I think, because she had like the crazy hair.
Yeah, I expected a twist where like he would have been related or he wasn't related or something, you know? Like the daughter was adopted from that family and they're looking to get her back and they could only find Jack. I don't know. I was because the hair was really close to the same.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
But yeah.
All right. So for me, I'm gonna recommend it too. I think it's definitely interesting and more interesting than a lot of the garbage that we've kind of watched recently. Because they really, Gareth Mouthwood just really tried to say something here, and I agree 100% with the nature versus nurture kind of point that he was trying to make, and you know how badly Jack had it, and it really, despite the fact that like he may have been a good person, he was unable to control those emotions because of the way he'd been treated his whole life. So I get that. I think Alexis Arquette does a really good job in that role too. He shows, you know, the emotion very well, the uncontrolled like urges of like anger, and especially when they eventually meet their biological mother and how he just can't handle what's being said to him. I think was really good. But I think it suffers a lot from not fleshing out some of the things that you need to flesh out. There's certain movies where like you can throw that twist and be like, you know, throw the big supernatural thing at the ending without like any real explanation and make it work. Something like when you're watching like a film and the weird stuff's happened the whole time, and then boom, alien spaceship shows up and you're like, oh, it's aliens the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
Like you don't really get that in this, where it's just like, yeah, so I guess she has psychic supernatural powers, but we don't, because she bumped her head, like she had a concussion and that caused them, or like why is like where are they manifesting from? Where are the voices? Who are the voices? What's like? There's just not enough there to really explain that. But with that said, I still definitely think it's worth watching because it does illustrate some of the horrors of like a horrible upbringing and what it can do to somebody very well. Again, I don't know where the metal hypnotic box came from because there's no explanation other than, well, he's good with his hands, but how did he learn hypnosis?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you gave it a C-. I'm right there with you. I think a C- is a fair grade for this. I think it's definitely worth watching. It's not something that like maybe you have to watch,
right,
but I think if it sounds interesting, then it's worth checking out. So there we have that. Let's move on to Fear No Evil, 1981. We may have covered this. I know we've had a discussion about this movie before on the show, and we had a listener / friend of the show back in the day that kept trying to get us to watch it. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
So let's play the trailer for Fear No Evil.
Every school has them. The punkers, the lovers, the clowns.
Hey, look, everybody, I got a 0.
And every school has its reject.
You were 54 seconds late, kid. 50 sit-ups and 50 push-ups.
The student nobody really knows.
You know my boy? You know of him?
The classmate with no real friends.
Andrew, wanna get high, man? I don't need it.
Who are you?
The quiet kid everyone loves to hate. But until now, no school has ever felt his revenge.
My son's a criminal! My son's a criminal!
Fear no evil. For years, he's waited for his moment. And now, it's upon us. For years, he's endured their cruelty.
You're gonna give me a date tonight. Won't you at least let me have a kiss, huh? Yeah.
And now he's going to pay them back. One by one. By one. Fear no evil.
All right, Fear.
The new
Whoops.
wave of terror.
All right, Fear No Evil, 1981. So I feel like friend of the show, Emily, who we haven't, I don't know if she still listens to the show. I don't think she still listens to the show, but she used to always try to get us to cover this movie. And she would send in voicemails and she'd be like, you guys have got to cover this movie because death by dodgeball. Yeah, sounds sick. Guess what? It's one scene in the movie and it lasts for like under a minute and then the rest of the movie is fucking garbage. Like that's maybe being a little harsh. But like this movie is famous, or infamous because of the death by dodgeball scene, which is a banana scene in this movie, but it's like the one thing that it has going for it.
Yeah.
The story is pretty simple. A high school student turns out to be the personification of Lucifer. There's three other archangels that are in human form, that are supposed to basically help keep him from taking over the world or whatever. You got Andrew, who is the Lucifer character. You have Michael, which is one of the archangels. You have Gabriel, who is one of the other ones, and then a priest that dies early on in the film. I love a good religious horror movie. I know you love a good religious horror movie. I think the story they were going with of the archangels being, taking a corporeal human form and not knowing that they were the archangels, at least, and as if they died in human form, another person was reincarnated as that. I like that idea. I love the idea that the devil has to come to Earth, take a form, and then, try to take over, and it's this ongoing battle. I think that's a great idea.
If done well. Right.
If done well. So this film opens with a priest in a rowboat going to this castle that's built. Apparently, it's in New York. Actually, I think it's just off of Long Island. And they basically wrote the movie around the location of the castle, from what I read. So it's this great medieval castle that the guy that's the devil, the devil has to use it to do whatever. The first person that's incarnated as the devil is an Italian guy, and the priest kills him, and then the priest is sent to jail for murder. But the whole thing is that they're going to be reincarnated or whatever. So the devil's reincarnated as this kid Andrew. He's in high school. We meet Gabrielle, who is also in high school, and then Mikhail is an older woman who knows of the priest that was the original archangel, but he's passed away in prison, so they're down to two. And we just kind of learned that Andrew and his family is very confused by him. They're not sure kind of where he's come from. Was he adopted?
I don't remember.
No, I don't think so. I feel like early on in the film, but Andrew's mother basically like is like that servant of the devil type character, but doesn't know it. Where like she does everything for him, and the husband is like, yo, there's something wrong with our kid.
So part of the problem I have with that type of thing, like no one in this movie knows what their job is in this movie. How the fuck is it going to happen? Right? It's just, you're setting yourself up for really strange plot devices to help get your movie going the way it needs to go. I don't know. I just think people not knowing what other people are doing is a huge hindrance to moving your story along.
Yeah, I agree with that. And this is directed by Frank LaLoggia, not Robert LaLoggia, but Frank LaLoggia. He also directed a really good ghost story called Lady in White.
That sounds really familiar. I probably have seen that.
I don't think we've covered it, but it's one that, like, it's been around for a long time and is pretty. I've seen it. It's pretty good. So, I mean, there's no doubt that this is, 81. This is inspired by stuff like The Omen and Carrie and The Exorcist and stuff like that. And also, zombie movies were huge at the time, too. So I also read that the producer, who was actually the director's brother, basically forced him to add this whole zombie element to this film. Which, once you know that, you're like, oh, yeah, it feels very added on because there's no real point to them.
Yeah.
But the father knows there's something wrong with this kid, and the wife like treats the father like shit. So he's a mess. We're introduced to the high school element of it. Of course, you have the kid wearing the leather jacket and the bell bottoms with the long hair.
This is the movie with the shower scene. There were too many teenagers being abused.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, there was no shower scene in the first movie.
No, but it absolutely exactly the same way could have fit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we know, the guy, you got the Danny Zuko character that's like, hey, fuck you, man. I don't need to mess with any of your stuff. I don't need your stinking school.
Yeah.
And then he's real mean to his girlfriend. Like he slaps his girlfriend in the face for, she left the door unlocked in the car or whatever, which he didn't actually.
Every second, unless he wants something done with his dick. Like all the time he's pissed off. And it's like, why are you with him?
Because 1979.
Yeah. Because he has the Sex Pistols cassette in his car.
Yeah, I have to say that the majority of this budget in this film must have been used to licensing music.
I'm okay with that.
Because I am too, because I love when I hear music that I recognize, especially from film from this time period. But like you have a Sex Pistols song, you have a Todd Rundgren song, you have the Talking Heads, 2 Talking Heads references in one episode. Go figure. It wasn't Todd Rundgren, it was Boomtown Rants, the Ramones, a couple other ones I don't remember. But so like this movie has just got like a bunch of kind of stuff thrown in. So you have that whole satanic element, and then you got the kid being bullied in high school, and that shower scene is just so bizarre.
It is. It's
because
yeah. Go ahead.
So you got the Danny Zuko character. This is after gym class or whatever. And now I very much remember going in high school when you go to gym and then you're like, they want you to shower in between or after gym class before you go back to your regular classes, because kids at that age, not everyone's wearing deodorant and they don't want anyone to be the smelly kid.
Funny thing is,
what?
Those kids, we all smelled before we went to gym class too, because we were teenagers, and that's how it is.
Right. Let me tell you, Travis plays flag football on Saturday nights, and we were driving home, and he gets in the car the other night, and I was like, bro, you need to take a shower when you get home.
Yeah, kids.
And I'm very keyed in on that for some reason.
Regardless of gender, kids stink.
They do.
Physically,
they do
stink. It happens. It's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Nope.
If you're a teenage kid, trust me, you have or will stink.
Right. And when your parents ask you to take a shower or wear deodorant, it's really for your own benefit. I'm not making my kid take showers and like because I'm like insulted by it, but by the fact that like kids are terrible today. Kids are awful, and you do not want to give them any type of ammunition.
Kids have always been terrible.
Right, but I feel like it's hyper now because they could be terrible in so many different ways because of the internet and social media and the ways that they can, like, you get labeled the smelly kid.
Oh, you're done.
you're done. You're not gonna shake that.
Right.
Like that's gonna stick with you.
Right, until you're out of high school and
Right, exactly. But as we all know, the way things are now, you got to get your kid through high school.
Yeah.
And let them realize there is a light on the other side of the other side of the bridge there or whatever.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Light on
I
the
don't know
other
what
side
you're
of the
saying,
bridge.
but that's fine. I agree.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, all right, back to the movie. So there's this they have gym class or whatever.
Yeah.
And they got a shower. Was this after did this scene happen right after the dodgeball thing?
It had.
All right, so let's talk
I gotta
about
look.
the dodgeball scene.
I gotta
now.
look because
all right, we'll talk.
If they
so this movie is best known as the Death by Dodgeball movie. So there's a gym class scene where Andrew comes in and he's late. And you heard it in the trailer. You are 54 seconds late.
Yeah.
This is like the most intense gym teacher I've ever seen in my life. And he yells at him and he's like, all right, you got to give me 50 push-ups and 50 sit-ups. So he starts doing them. He starts getting mad. They're playing dodgeball. And the gym teacher is getting more and more angry / excited at the way these kids are playing dodgeball, which then feeds into Andrew's demonic power or whatever. And then he starts to feed back to the gym teacher, and the gym teacher keeps getting more and more amped up.
Yeah.
And it goes from like, play dodgeball, do a good job. You're in, you're out, throw hard, do this, throw it harder, hit him, take him out, kill him,
But
make him pay. Like
he is literally screaming like the father in a Twisted Sister video.
Yeah. Screaming to the
nuts.
point where like, you're not doing this well enough. You should be throwing the ball harder. Give me the ball. Grabs the ball, throws the ball at the boyfriend of the Gabrielle character, hits him with the ball. He goes flying across the room, smashes into the bleachers on the other side, and then is impaled on them by the ball.
Yeah.
Death by dodgeball. I know it sounds wacky and it sounds entertaining, and it is, but it's just it kind of just happens. Like,
yeah. Okay. The shower scene is before. It's about in the movie. It's about 10 minutes before the dodgeball scene, which makes sense because you can't have 6 or 8 kids go shower after their classmate was, crushed
by
against the
dodgeball.
wall by a. Yeah.
All right, I'm not okay. So good. So that scene happened. So we know about Andrew's demonic powers.
But the shower scene was weird. We got to
Really
talk
weird.
about that for a second.
Oh no, we have to talk. We're gonna talk. About it.
Okay.
So they go in after gym class. You got Danny Zuko and his boys, and then you have Andrew who's just trying to mind his own business.
Yep.
He's showering in the corner, and then the Danny Zuko character decides to start giving him shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, this dates back to what I was saying about, we all remember, or at least I can't say we all. I remember going into high school and being told you have to shower after gym class and being really weirded out by it.
I never did because fuck that. And guess what? One of the gym teachers from my high school when I was there is now has a lawsuit. He was a sexual predator.
Yep,
for little boys. So
sounds about right.
I never. Because if I'm obviously very self-conscious, and I don't even really take my shirt off, so whatever.
Right.
So I'm not taking a shower. So I would always try to manage to get my gym classes to be either 6th or 7th period. So I just go home.
So you would just go home afterwards.
Yeah. And what's the point in taking a fucking shower if I'm going to go play lacrosse for 2 hours after school? Right.
Good. Again, excellent point, man.
Yeah. I have a shower at home, and it's hotter and it's better. Also, every shower head in that shower looked like some dude trying to take a leak after he had sex and fell asleep and woke up the next morning.
Very true. So, but getting back to for me, my experience was like, I mean, I would take the shower, the super fast shower. Everybody's weird. I mean, honestly, I looked like a Greek god in high school. So, I mean, it wasn't a big deal. Everyone was like, whoa, shit, look at Bill. That dude's fucking ripped. And I was like, yeah, obviously.
There's also schlubby Greek gods too, right?
Yeah, I was the Greek god that really liked Twinkies.
I'm the Greek god of wine and naps.
But like, it was always very uncomfortable. And like, I like you, if I had gym at the end of the day, I wouldn't, because I ran cross country in the fall and I played hockey in the winter and I did track in the spring. So like, if I had sports afterwards, it didn't make sense.
Right.
But if it was like first period, because there was a couple years where I had gym like first period in the morning, it was like, yeah, you don't want to fucking stink all day.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you put on, I mean, how much did you sweat in gym class? You put on a little bit of deodorant, you're good, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
so
I think the most I ever did, we had to run a mile. So that was just constant. It wasn't like dodgeball or street hockey or whatever.
right.
So, yeah.
So in the film, yeah, they're all in the shower. Zuko decides that he's going to start giving this dude shit. But like, rather than like making fun of him, like there was like so many ways they could have done this scene. Like they could have had him like wear his underwear in the shower or something and be like making fun of him for wearing his underwear in the shower.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But no, instead, he's basically like, hey, Andrews, why don't you give me a kiss? It's like,
Yeah.
no.
Because the
Why?
answer to that would be, why do you, if you want to kiss me, come on over. But like, how's that a threat?
And that's the thing too, is it's like you get the sense that he's trying to be making fun of this kid.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, hey, whatever, homo, you gonna be like, but like then it's like, why don't you give me a kiss? And just like so many films from this time period, especially through the 80s specifically, and also I guess also into the 90s, where like homophobia was treated in the way of like, yeah, man, beat him up, then like make out with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we hate gay people. Show him by fucking him in his ass and reaching around and making him complete.
You know what would make that gay kid feel really bad? If you like hugged him and like took him out on a date and then like met his parents and then like got married. Like that would be like, you'd really show him. You ever heard that Lonely Island song, Spring Break?
I think so, yeah.
The one where it's like, hey, fuck, where is it? Let me just find it.
Go check out that song, everybody. But yeah, I never understood that at all. It's that joke. It's that old joke of a game that you play in the closet. You know, who's gay, who's whatever, and it's two people go in the closet, and like the first one that breaks loses, and he's like, "All right, we've been married for 14 years now. We've adopted 2 kids. If he doesn't break soon, I don't know what's gonna happen."
Right. Yeah. So Zuko goes over there and is like, yeah, man, why don't you give me a kiss? And then like, so like he starts kissing him.
Yeah.
And then like Andrew goes into like devil mode or whatever and makes him keep kissing him.
Yeah.
And it just gets really, really awkward. And not in the way that I think they intended for it to be. Like I'm not sure what they intended. But like he can't stop kissing him.
Yeah.
And like they both seem like they're in like pain, but like don't stop, and everyone's just kind of standing there,
Right.
And they're like, "What the fuck is happening?"
All the boners have gone at this point.
Yeah, as excited as they were, they're no longer excited because this has gotten very strange.
Yeah.
And so they stop kissing, and the one of the guy's friends is like, "Dude, what the hell happened?" And he's just like, "I don't fucking know, but don't you tell anybody about it."
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get that. Don't tell anybody I told him I wanted to be kissed, and then he did it.
Yeah, don't even tell anybody that I kissed him and really enjoyed it, and now think I'm in love. Like, don't tell anyone. The one thing I will say, dude, about life now, like, is, you know, as bad as things are, and things are fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that you can go out and you can be whoever you want to be, you can be whatever sex you want to be, you can date whoever you want to be. Where, like, the fact that like that community can do that now, and like you look back on stuff like this and it just seems so silly.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And we're at like 50%, I would say, which
then
is
we were
better
at like
than
negative 2%.
it was.
so.
Yeah. I would say it was like negative 700% back in the 80s because Reagan fucked everybody over thinking we were all going to get AIDS from a goddamn toilet seat.
I mean, I
Fucking
did
asshole.
twice.
You fucked the toilet seat twice?
Twice.
Wow.
After gym class.
Well, yeah, then you need a shower because.
Yeah, man, those toilets.
Yeah.
What? So that scene happens.
Yeah.
This movie is it's just weird, man. So like they live in this seaside town and they do a yearly presentation of the Christ Passion Passion play.
Yeah.
And like hundreds of people show up to this.
Yeah.
It's a mock crucifixion. And like the entire town shows up every year for this play.
Yeah. I mean, it's the 80s. I remember the churches being more full when I was little. It's possible. Small town? Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah. So they got the play, and now Gabrielle was having these weird dreams after. So her boyfriend was the one that was impaled by dodgeball. She's very upset, but she's having these dreams about Andrew. and then she's drawn to Mikhail, and like it all just kind of shifts itself too much too quickly.
Yeah.
And it really just doesn't work. Like it just as a whole, like there's parts that are like that are cool and see what they're trying to do, but as a whole, the whole thing just like, and especially falls apart. So at the end, so all the bad kids, like the girlfriend, Danny Zuko and their crew, they get kicked out of some restaurant for getting into a fight. And then they steal a boat and they take the boat over to the castle for some reason. And now Andrew's already at the castle. He's raised a bunch of zombies. At least they were able to follow that or present that in a way that we knew makes sense, because they talk about how they built the castle and a whole bunch of people died in the process of building the castle and their bodies were still buried there. So when he resurrected all of them, and what was, I will say, a pretty cool resurrection scene for zombies to kind of rise up, I thought was actually quite good and effective.
And the zombies were actually pretty good.
Yeah, not bad at all, which is interesting considering the director didn't want zombies in the movie.
Right. But I mean, if you're working with the son of the devil, bringing reanimated corpses is just like, that's like your morning coffee.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, this guy, like, as he's resurrecting them, like, and he goes into devil mode, like. Also, can we talk about how many smoke machines did this guy rent for this movie?
Holy shit, he used them all in the first scene when the dude's going up to that little arch on the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
the little boat.
And it's just this arch over the water, like connecting a small island to another small island. There's a wall. It's all part of the whole thing, like to the boathouse. Yeah. And the smoke coming out of it looks like they just elected 15 new popes and they have to tell everybody all at once. It's so much goddamn smoke.
But the best part of it is it's like there's like a line where like no smoke.
Yeah.
All of the smoke.
Absolutely all of it.
So if you're looking at it in terms of like a meteorological way, like it's not possible.
No, something is literally on fire if it's that bad.
But not even that. Like, why hasn't the smoke spread past the thing?
Well, yeah, there's that too. Because they just turned the machine on.
Well, that was going to say they started filming and didn't wait for the smoke to disperse enough.
Now one guy had a cardboard,
no,
just sheet to just wave at the smoke.
Either way, I'm pretty sure when this guy returned the smoke machines that they rented, they were like, they're all broken.
Yeah,
and it's all we used them.
Yeah, I
bought the insurance though. So.
I got my money's worth.
Got my money's worth of these smoke machines. So there's the whole angels thing, and they know that they have to stop Andrew. And the only other scene from this point on that works is the zombies are taking out Danny Zuko and his crew.
Yeah.
And there's a part where Zuko gets away. He like totally like leave the zombies show up, totally ditches the girlfriend, immediately just runs away. And she's like, Dan, the kid's name wasn't Danny, whatever his actual name was, Tony, I think. Like, Tony, help me. And he's like, fuck that.
Yeah,
like,
this movie is full of people leaving other people to die.
Yeah. So he finds like they're all dead except for one of the other girls, and he grabs the other girl and is like, hey, we gotta get out of here. So like they then run into Andrew and they're like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? And then Andrew proceeds to, I don't know, curse or whatever.
Yeah.
This Danny Zuko Tony character, and what he does is he makes him grow breasts.
Yeah.
Which dates back to something about a conversation they had earlier in the film when Danny Zuko was trying to make Andrew smoke weed, and he's like, it doesn't make you grow tits.
Yeah, that's the only connection I could figure.
So he makes him grow tits, and it's fucking hilarious. Because he goes, oh, what the hell? And then he tears his shirt open, and they go, whoop, and he's like, oh no, what's gonna happen here?
What's gonna happen there, Tony, is you're gonna go home and figure out the right way to stimulate your girlfriend's breasts.
Yes,
using your own.
But then he dies, so then it doesn't matter.
They learn nothing.
And so then there's this big special effects thing where they do some light refracting and some glass to move the light around, and it just looks bad.
That's true.
It just looks bad.
That's true.
And then, boom, the devil's defeated.
Yeah.
Oh, man, what am I going to do with these tits now?
It's just...
This is a weird fucking movie, man.
It is. And I'm trying to figure out, is the movie pro-religion and anti-gay, or is it something else? Because they're definitely equating being gay to being of the devil.
Yeah, because they definitely very much make Andrew out to be a gay character.
And the first
he never,
dude,
like,
too.
Yeah, they never like show him like in a relationship with a man or anything, but like the mannerisms is very much they're very purposeful.
He has more feminine mannerisms and stuff. And so did the father, technically. If we
I guess so, yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, that would, I guess, make sense if you have a genderless supernatural creature. Why not? They can be whatever they want. I'm okay with that.
Right. But it's just all kind of weird. Like the play on the beach with like the hundreds of people there to see the fake crucifixion that ends up being a real crucifixion. Like, and then like the lightning starts striking and people just randomly start busting out in like the stigmata and like all this stuff happens. But I'm just like, why? Like, yeah, okay, you can lean on all right, the devil's here. So like religious shit's gonna get burnt up real good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything else before we grade it?
Not really.
All right. Chris, do you recommend and what is your grade for 1981's Fear No Evil?
This is a tough one because it does some interesting things and it does a bunch of stupid stuff. It's very basic as a movie, but also there's more to it than that. There's one shot where I think it's the Zuko kid talking to our devil guy, and there's a shot of him and the sun in a gray sky. And for some reason, it just looked really, really well done and thought out. So there's some very cinematic shots in this, which surprised me. And then there's also just garbage. So this is a weird movie. It's like they got some professionals, but not enough. I don't know.
Well, the cinematographer is a guy named Fred Goodrich who's worked on a bunch of stuff. He's probably best known. He's the director of photography for The Love of the Game.
Okay.
So he's worked on a bunch of stuff. It's just Light Maker stuff that our fans would probably listen to. Not much, to be honest.
Oh, he had a good eye. Definitely. There were some shots in here that were well above this movie's pay grade.
Yeah. Not all of them, unfortunately, though.
No. But as a whole, seeing how society, this is a good look back into how society looked at gay people, I think, in the 80s.
Agreed.
And it wasn't nice, but at least this movie is sort of standing up for them by calling them the son of the devil. I don't know what's going on. It's a strange thing. It's a strange place to put yourself in because you feel bad for the kid because he's bullied like Jack in the other movie, but then he's also a fucking lunatic like Jack in the other movie. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go C- again. It's not great enough for me to push it past that, but the music was very surprising, and it wasn't just punk. There was the Talking Heads in there and some other stuff too, and it was just that's what kept me going, was the surprise of the songs every now and then. And good for them for going with like the big punk stuff at the time. That's nice.
For sure. So I'm gonna give it a recommend. It's got a place in like the cult film world for sure, no doubt. I mean, the Death by Dodgeball scene is Death by Dodgeball, and like you say that, and people are like, well, I want to see that.
Yeah, it's better. It's better than the basketball from Deadly Friend.
Agreed. And there's some scenes in this that I mean are like just batshit crazy. There's this great scene that we didn't mention where Andrew's father goes into like this bar and he sits down and he orders a drink or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, my son's the devil." And the guy next to him was like, "Yeah, man, kids gotta fucking deal with them, right?" And he's like, "No, my son's the devil."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, my kid did such and such and took the car without asking and then wrecked the car and blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Oh, my son's the devil." And then, he blamed it on so-and-so, blah, blah. And then he's like, My son's the devil.
Right? Like, you are not understanding.
He's like, shut up, man. My kid's the actual devil. Like, and like,
no matter what happened to you, I guarantee you my day's worse.
I know. And that's kind of what he kept being like, oh, then my kid. Yeah, my kid's the fucking devil. Well,
Yeah.
my son did. Dude, my kid's the fucking devil.
Listen,
my son.
my
Dude, listen to me. My
son-
son is the actual devil.
My son is the spawn of the punisher of all of mankind's evils. Yeah, but my kid didn't fill the tank up with gas. Oh, fuck, you win. All right.
Oh, sorry, man. My bad.
Whatever.
And like the scenes like that, the scene with the dodgeball, the scene where Danny Zuko grows the tits, like it's like they're all weird because like they're funny.
Yeah.
But this film is not played off in a lighthearted manner. It's played off dark and serious.
Oh, very.
So when those scenes happen, like it just gives this bizarre feel. Like the part where they're doing the play and the guy that plays Jesus is like walking through the crowd and everyone's treating him like he's Jesus. Like he's in like a flannel shirt and jeans. And everyone's like, oh, hi, Jesus. You hear the little kid's like, hi, Jesus, hi. And they all like go up and hug him. And he's like, yes, 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 my child. It's like, what is happening here? Like, so I'm going to recommend it. I'm going to recommend it.
Okay.
But I'm not going to grade it high. I'm going to grade it a tiny bit higher than you. I'm going to give it a straight C. I think it's definitely worth watching. If you have Shudder, you can watch it on Shudder. If you don't have Shudder, you can sign up for the 30-day trial and watch everything that we've talked about on the show, and then just cancel, and you'll be good. And then we'll tell you when you need to sign up again.
Yeah.
We haven't really done a lot of Shudder stuff recently because they've been releasing a lot of new stuff. So when we get to like November and we start to do the year-end catch-up, we'll cover a lot of that stuff. So yeah, I'm going to give it a C. I'm going to give it a recommend. I think it's worth checking out for sure. It is bizarre. I think it's worth checking out more so because of the oddity that it is in early 80s cinema, in seeing that, like, yes, this is biting on The Omen, this is biting on this, and then obviously, like, Night of the Living Dead and, like, Dawn of the Dead and stuff with the zombie stuff that's brought into it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you can rent it on YouTube for $2.99 in HD, $1.99 in SD. I would say the $1.99 is the way to go.
I would say sign up for a 30-day trial of Shudder and then just cancel it.
Oh, yeah, there's
that.
For free. I'm saying, though, if you don't
Unless, of course, Shudder wants to sponsor the show, and then I will tell you every single week how you should pay for it. I pay for it. I buy it for, I buy the year at a time.
Yeah,
like
I think I'm going to start doing that.
You save like 30% or something like that. It's like $50 as opposed to like $80. But I highly recommend Shudder.
Yeah.
They're always putting new stuff on there. But it's what's good is it's not like Netflix or like a lot of the other bigger streaming services, even Tubi. I love Tubi's. Tubi's become my favorite. I love Tubi, but Shudder keeps it fairly curated. Like,
oh yeah,
each week they add 2 or 3 movies, and you know what they are because they're always on the homepage. It doesn't say what's new this week, but it says like newly added or whatever.
Right,
and they're there in the order that they were added to the service.
Yep,
which is great.
Yep.
So you don't have to like what's new. It's easy. Like you know when you go to Netflix and you go on the like new arrivals or like new releases, it's the same as the other 25 different things they have there because they're promoting the same things.
Right. Yeah, they just put up something called The Elevator Game. It's a Shudder original, and it's based on that online thing about you push this button, you push this button, you did it, and then you like cross over into another dimension or something. So I'm gonna give it a shot. It's like a based off a creepypasta type of thing, not creepypasta, but anyway.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I'm watching that new docuseries about OVW wrestling, the wrestlers. It's pretty good. I'm 2 episodes in. It's pretty good.
Huh.
All right. Speaking of pretty good, I guess Joe's segment.
Okay.
Well, hello, Bill. Hello, Chris. And hello, OTC Nation. It's your boy Joe here, and this week Bill took me to another house, but a different house. He made me watch House 2, The Second Story. I get it. I see what you did there. That's cute. Lar Park Lincoln is in this one.
Why do I know that name?
You'll remember her as young psychic Tina from Friday the 13th Part 7.
There we go.
You know, the one that looks like it was filmed in a Mississippi Delta swamp during a cold front in January, as opposed to central New Jersey where it's supposed to take place.
The Gators were a giveaway.
I literally just looked it up, and Part 7 was filmed in Alabama in February.
So close.
I was just making a joke, but I was actually pretty close. Also, her name is Lar Lar?
Laura.
Lar. I just looked that up, and her given name is Laura.
Got it.
Like, I get coming up with a unique and memorable stage name, but why did you choose one that sounds like my cat hacking up a hairball?
Probably something her mom called her.
Lar. As Chris pointed out last week, Bill Maher is in this also.
Sorry.
And the less said about that, the better.
Yeah, he's awful. He's a garbage person.
A bit of really, really cute casting here. House 1 co-starred George Wendt from Cheers, and he was a pretty fun addition to the story. Now, in House 2, we get John Ratzenberger from Cheers.
Which was cool till he went right
I see
wing.
what you did there, Melissa Scoff,
Very true.
casting director for House 2, the second story.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be in House 3? Shelley Long? Ooh. Rhea Perlman?
I'd be happy with Ted Danson, too.
One
He was
thing
good on the
stood
Good
out
Place.
to me in the Tubi listing above other things. This is PG-13. Now, I know a lot of pissy movie snobs and fucking nerds scoff at that rating, especially when it comes to horror movies. And honestly, I used to feel that way too, but... Hey, Quark. But, like, if the intention of your movie is to be fun and light-hearted scary instead of, hey, we're going to see if we can make you call in an emergency session with your therapist scary, why not? That horse I was on, and some people are still on, is just a little bit high. Well, why don't you come on down now? Like, we need gentle horror because some people need to be eased into things. Let's just watch this fun movie. Calm down. You too, Quark. Here's a way I always know I'm enjoying a movie. The longer I watch before pausing to make a joke attempt or describe the plot, the more I know I'm enjoying it. I mean, shit, there's been movies that Bill has made me watch that were so bad, I was like 15 minutes into the movie, and I had like 3 or 4 pages of just fuck this movie, like rage comedy stuff written. Then I get even more mad because I have to do my least favorite thing. Edit myself. I'm almost 40 minutes in and I haven't written a damn thing. I remembered 12-year-old Joe thinking that this movie was a blast. Add in a smidge of nostalgia for a movie I haven't seen since I was a virgin, and 46-year-old Joe is very happy with his Sunday afternoon. Ari Gross plays Jesse McLaughlin, who has inherited his ancestral home. And it's not the nice Victorian job from the first movie. This house looks like Forrest Ackerman's wet dream of a 1950s, like, black and white scary movie house with constant lightning around it, and I don't know, Vincent Price is probably skulking around somewhere.
I think it's the same house from Waxwork.
With the help of his friend, he just, digs up the body of his great-great-granddad, like you do, only to find him reanimated and in possession of one of the fabled crystal skulls that Dan Aykroyd likes to jizz himself over. There's a side story, well, sort of, where his girlfriend, played by Lar, is a music executive, and she's like super flirty with and ditches him a couple times for Bill Maher, but then gets super aggro when he just like gives an old girlfriend a hug. Bill Maher plays the character you want him to play. He's a shitty, snobby, elitist piece of shit, and everything he says is just in a tone that makes you want to slap him.
Yeah.
So basically, he plays himself. Big Halloween party, caveman-ass dude comes out of a portal, steals the skull, and then... I don't know. I mean, if you've seen this, you know. If you haven't, I don't really have time to break down everything that happens in the last 45 minutes of this movie. The house is like a conduit, and the skull gets all mystical, and every room in the house becomes like a different dimension. It's a lot like My Science Project, or Waxwork 2, Lost in Time.
There you go.
And I'm here for it. Like those other movies, this is played way more for fun and adventure than scares, and it's one of those times where, and quick pause, quick side note, and I know I dunked on House for the exact same thing I'm praising this movie for, but this is exactly the tone that this story needed in order to be good. They go back into prehistoric times, and a pterodactyl steals the skull, and then there's the old hat of, oh, there's a bird monster's nest the size of an economy apartment in Manhattan, and you gotta, like, steal something from it. Have fun. You know, that old trope.
Yeah.
They introduce a caterpillar dog that might be the cutest thing I've ever seen. They go to a prehistoric jungle and Aztec temples and the Old West, and god damn it, I feel like a hypocrite for liking this as much or more than I disliked House. I don't know, I guess here's the thing. The good. I feel justified in that thought because they had the good sense to go full tilt big into the fun. Where House felt like they wanted to make a scary movie, but couldn't help but trying to make you laugh as well. They kept it moving here in House 2. The sets are amazing. Royal Dano as the corpse of the old treasure-hunting cowboy great-great-granddad is fucking delightful. And honestly, it's just fun. Like, if you're not in the mood for something serious, this is it. The bad. I had to look at Bill Maher's face.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I guess there were some plot holes that were left gaping. And the bad guy is barely present until the last, 20 or 30 minutes. House 2 was great. I loved it. If you're in the mood for a fun 80s adventure film, you cannot go wrong here. Highly recommend. I didn't know there was a third House film, let alone a fourth.
Yeah, it really
and I'm
isn't.
guessing there's a reason for that. I'm guessing I'm probably not going to have such a great time next week. But I'll find out. Until then, be good, everyone.
Well, all right then.
I was wrong. It was not the house that was also in Waxwork. That's a different house.
Oh, well,
But
whoopity doo to you.
It's the Stimson house is what it's called. It was in Another You, House 2, Casper Meets Wendy, and After Midnight, but it was also in the show Legion, episode of Mad Men. But the funny thing is, it was in an episode of The Bionic Woman, and Vincent Price was in that episode, and he loved the house. So I thought that was worth it.
All right, then. I'll take it. I'll take it. Speaking of taking it, Reverend Scott, take it away. There is a difference, I think, in that. I can't speak that I know a lot about that world, but there are hookers, there are prostitutes, there are escorts. I don't think they're all the same thing.
No, it is. I don't know. Hooker and prostitute might be the same, but escort is definitely from my understanding, the expectation of sex is not always assured.
Maybe Reverend Scott could tell us. He'll know.
Maybe.
Thank you, Bill and Chris, for that thought-provoking introduction. In today's verbal essay, I will be discussing all these questions and much more. So join me for the next 3 hours on this auditory journey into the world's oldest profession, in hookers, prostitutes, escorts, and you.
I wish I would listen to that.
Yeah, me too.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
With Reverend Scott.
While we're talking about
so
Godzilla,
any of you guys, yeah,
I'm going to recommend to everybody the Gamera series on Netflix. I like the creature redesigns too. Very, very impressive.
Speaking of Godzilla, here's Gamera.
Yet they're the same.
The internet hates you.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott.
A human volcano of unpredictable terror, rejected by society, twisted with mental anguish, tortured by complexes, man or monster, sane or insane, but driven to shock and kill.
Pretty much sums me up. So what do we have this week? Well, I have a giant shark movie I can talk about. But before I do, you know what I have to do. And no, Chris, it's not to end my segment early.
The exact thing I want to happen is not happening right now. Why is it not happening?
Because I need to review your review of The Sadist, which was like, I don't know, a Texas Chainsaw Massacre ripoff or something, but with more misogyny.
You know a lady can't understand anything more complex than that. I mean, oh, sweetie, you wouldn't understand. You're just a girl.
Yeah.
But just to be fair, you guys did shit on the men in the movie too.
That dude is nuts.
Many times.
He's kind of a coward.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
That's all I remember though. Seemed pretty good. I give it a B+. And your review gets a B. After that was Mind, Body, and Soul, which I think Bill said was like a porn movie or something. Or maybe it was a sequel to Black Roses.
100% heavy metal is bad.
Either way, the actress left quite the impression.
Because there's a lot of amnesia girls in this movie. In these movies, or not necessarily amnesia.
This one wasn't supposed to be an amnesia girl, though. She just couldn't remember her lines.
And there was a cult which should have been cool. But all it did was remind us of a much better movie.
The cult is presented in the most generic way possible. They're all dressed in black. And even Ginger Lynn's character goes, why is everyone dressed in black?
Yeah.
And the boyfriend is like, well, that's just what we wear to these. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's like the most like spirit Halloween, skulls on the side and like the giant wood pentagram on the wall, and everyone's wearing a silver pendant with a pentagram on it. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's the early 90s, the late 80s, early 90s.
Yep.
Yeah, Satanists are the worst.
I fully expected him to start ordering Chinese food at that point.
This is 620 Madison Street, apartment 4. I would like you to deliver an order of shrimp rolls, lobster Cantonese, Jiasu Ding, and a fortune cookie.
Bill didn't like it. Chris, I don't know. It was hard to tell what he thought.
Kind of feels like this movie was made on a dare.
I give Mind, Body, and Soul a D- for trying to be as cool as Mardi Gras Massacre. But the review gets a B+. Now, unfortunately for you, that brings us to what I've been watching. And while I could be talking about an actual good movie I saw, instead I'm going to discuss Giant Fish.
There is just as much garbage as there is good stuff.
Yeah.
Your boy Jason Statham is back in The Meg 2, The Trench, as his most beloved character, Jonas something. His main character traits are killing giant sharks and that...
He seems dumb, but he's unpredictable, which makes him more dangerous.
Right.
Yeah.
Cliff Curtis from Fear the Walking Dead is in this, as well as a whole host of Chinese actors to help ensure a good return on investment overseas, which, God bless them, it worked, pulling in 80% of its $386 million at the box office from international theaters. But was Big Fish 2 as inexplicably good as Chris thought it would be?
It looks so good.
In one word, fuck no. And I know what you're saying. It's not supposed to be a good movie. It's like...
just a good time?
Yeah, but it just kind of just isn't. There's just too much pointless nonsense. Like, they have a pet megalodon at a science facility now that they're like studying and playing chicken with in the water, which, spoiler alert, it escapes. And then they're like taking little submarines 25,000 feet underwater through a thermal layer that supposedly the Megs can't go through, but like they go through it multiple times. And even there's like a giant squid and it just goes through it too. And then the good guys are getting double-crossed by, surprise, surprise, the big bad CEO. Because the big bad CEO is using their special technology suits to have people go mine rare materials in secret. But it's in an area that she knew would probably be explored by the science station that she also employs. And it's probably supposed to be a shock to the audience, but it totally isn't.
Is that really? No. Okay. I have the opposite reaction to that.
Then there's like little dinosaurs and they're like swimming and chasing them. And the sharks are attacking a party island called Party Island. And Jason Statham has bombs on spears that he duct taped to him, and he's throwing them at megalodons from a jet ski while riding giant waves. And the amount of spears he has on his back like changes every scene. And then the sharks all blow up or something. I forget. I fell asleep. And everybody claps and it was over. The end. I loved it. I give it a D. Okay, that's it. What'd you think of the review?
You're not as funny as you think you are.
Oh.
No one cares what you think.
Nobody was talking to you.
Yeah, it's like, why are you even here?
Yeah.
Tune in next week as I suggest Bill and Chris review the movie Cobweb as my Patreon pick. But then they just ignore me because it's only on video on demand right now.
Oh, you can't pick movies that are on Tubi? Like...
And finally, Chris critiques Bill's blowjob techniques.
He sticks the whole thing in his mouth and then like tilts it back. So, like, there's definitely backwash in there. I always put my lip like 3/4 of the way up the opening and do it that way because then I can close my lips. Isn't that what everybody does?
All that and so much more backwash. But until then, peace and love, guys. Outside the Cinema with your hosts, Bill and Chris.
I'm a maniac.
I'm a confused dum-dum.
Yes.
But no, seriously, you should review Cobweb as my Patreon pick. Do it.
We can't review it. It's only on video on demand. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us this week. Jack B. Nimble, Fear No Evil, both available on Shudder. Next week on the show, not Cobweb. I actually don't know what we're doing next week. I'm hoping to have all the movies together by then. So if you would like to follow us, OTC Bill and at Cthulhu on Instagram, go to our Facebook group, join up over there. We like to promise things that we never follow through with on that page. I don't use Twitter X. Yeah. I mean, patreon.com/outside the cinema. That's if you got picks for the movies, let us know. That's all we really got, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, cool. Maybe, you can follow us on Twitch too. And you can follow OTC Industries on YouTube. And for crying out loud, watch the fucking Woodsman, please. Please?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Orgies and lesbian games.